Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no. If this is a dream, it is one that I certainly hope that I never wake up from. I say this because something that I have realized over the last 10 years is that you guys are incredibly supportive of me. A guy who wanted to share his story with you about how he became a fan of Descendants and Zombies more than anything else in the world. And after having the chance presented to me by you guys, because you guys allowed me to be a part of your niche. You accepted me as a part of this niche to tell you my story about Descendants and Zombies from my perspective and the way I saw it and the way that I wanted to share it with you guys more than anything else in the world. Because there's always a way to tell this story. And there's always a way to put relatable content out there that actually makes sense to whatever age demographic loves Descendants and Zombies. Because there are many age demographics that this appeals to. Many age demographics that have fallen in love with the story, the beautiful characters, how the story has been represented through how the characters were given so much life. I remember being a fan of Disney when they prided themselves on original animation, so it was classics like Beauty and the Beast, 101 Dalmatians, Peter Pan. There were so many wonderful classics that I just couldn't get enough of, which means I couldn't stop watching them. They were on classic VHS tapes. The very first VCR that ever came out was priced at over $1,000. And I remember being at the local Walmart buying my first ever VCR, and the first thing that I ever put into it was Beauty and the Beast back in 1991. And needless to say, I fell in love with the story. I loved the iconic cartoony opening where they showed the castle, and I cried from the very first moment I saw the opening scene to the conclusion of the movie, because what I took away from it was a greater appreciation about how Belle and the Beast kind of misunderstood each other at the beginning, but they eventually fell in love with each other. And I know there are a lot of critics out there that will forever critically review Beauty and the Beast for how Beast may have treated Belle, or Belle looked at the Beast very differently, and they chose never to watch it again because of what the movie they felt had represented. But if you actually took time to really fall in love with the story and truly take away a greater appreciation, it was about how they understood each other by the end of the movie and had a greater appreciation for just how valuable people's love for each other could get them through anything, no matter what they were going through. And I guess that's why that made me one of the most revered Disney fans and one of the greatest celebrated names in the history of YouTube, because I could tell these stories in a very powerful way, far differently from everybody else that ever tried. And I say tried very lightly because they could never seem to do it or put across an emphatic message about Descendants and Zombies. Guys, what do you think the message of Descendants and Zombies always was? It was how much further kindness could take a person in this lifetime, and just how valuable and precious things like friendships and time actually are. Because we never seem to know how much time we have, and why do you think that is? It's because time always runs out. And I can tell you from first-hand experience, there are more times in my life that I've ever been given credit for that I wish I had more time. More time to tell people in my life that I surround myself with that I love them and I truly appreciate them. Or more time even to go back in time and fix some of the mistakes that I've left behind in my past and kind of forgot about. We all wish we had more time. And the most precious thing about time is we never seem to know how much of it we have. But I think through the power of Descendants and Zombies' story, we've gained a greater appreciation for time. We may still wish that we had more time in our lives to fix our mistakes and tell more people we surround ourselves with that we love them. But the thing is, we've always taken away a greater appreciation for time. And now that the time concept has been taken out of Descendants for Descendants 5 Book Wonderland, what are we left with? We're left with a very more intriguing story that will take place in present-day Wonderland, and we're going to find out if indeed Happily Ever After was all that Red and Chloe ever imagined that it would be. And I think it will, because Red will have a sister, and this is going to present a very beautiful story. We're going to see Liamani Segura for the first time ever coming into this franchise. I don't think we should ever buy into what critics are trying to sell us in terms of trying to get us to drink their proverbial Kool-Aid and saying, oh, this is going to happen, or that's going to happen. I love the red Kool-Aid, by the way. I also am a fan of the orange Kool-Aid, for those of you who don't know. I always used to love those really freaky Kool-Aid commercials where the Kool-Aid man will be there dancing, freaking out, trying to get us to drink the Kool-Aid. But nonetheless, I think that what we're setting up here for is a story that we're going to appreciate more than what the critics ever want us to believe. And you know something? Every single time that we fall more in love and deeper in love with a story from Descendants of Zombies, we shut those critics out. We don't give them what they want. Because what they want are reactions from us about how we may feel about Ruby Rose Turner's Ruby Rock music video when she was 13 years old in 2018. I was really appreciative of when Ruby released that music video because it showed us who Ruby was as a person. It allowed Ruby to introduce herself to us as Disney fans. And we very quickly fell in love with a girl who showed up in an ice cream truck from out of nowhere and started singing the song Ruby Rock. My name is Ruby. Well, hello, Ruby. My name is Jonathan Clarke, and I am the greatest of all time. And I am a huge fan of you because no matter how you put yourself out there, you've done it in such a phenomenal way that millions of people have fallen in love with you, and myself included. And that's what I love seeing about the Descendants and Zombie Stars, is that there are thousands of people who every day fall more in love with this story and wish they could be a part of something so special. And I had that chance shown to me by thousands of Descendants and Zombies fans who accepted me into this niche. And I've never wanted to leave. I've never wanted these stories to be over. I've always wanted to go down in history for having been one of the greatest of all time. I had no idea that it was going to happen in the form of Descendants and Zombies, and everybody was just going to fall head over heels in love with my content and my YouTube channel for how I could analyze stories and review them in a way with such appreciation that they forever and always deserved. Because for somebody to sit down and review Descendants and Zombies, they not only have to review Descendants and Zombies, they have to take away a greater appreciation for Descendants and Zombies every single time they ever have the chance to tell this story. And I've had the time of my life. Every single morning between 8:35 and 9:05 a.m. I turn on these reciprocal lights in this homemade studio that I've built that cost me nearly $4,000. And you're saying to yourself, hey, Jonathan Clarke, $4,000 is a lot of money. What do you do for a living? Well, I was a professional wrestling podcast host for a number of years, and I had the time of my life doing that. And then I wanted to showcase my passion for Disney. So what I would do on my professional wrestling podcast were somehow or some way I would try to tie in my love for Disney with my love for pro wrestling. And then the producers of the show used to say, hey, this guy's really weird. He's talking about Disney on a professional wrestling podcast. The guests were having him interview. So we got to let him go. So what they would do, they eventually let me go, and I had the opportunity to come home and actually launch a show from the way I wanted to see it. And I had so much fun because for the first time ever in my life, I got to showcase my passion for Disney. There was always something against someone who was a wrestling fan having a passion for Disney, and that's what I didn't like about the wrestling business, because everybody was trying to get ahead of each other, everybody was trying to be the best, and clawing and scratching for that number one position. It's kind of like how the music industry and the entertainment industry is forever and always evolving. No matter how good you think you are, there is always somebody behind you trying to knock you off of your pedestal that you work so diligently and so hard for. And then once the entertainment industry or the movie industry realizes how good you are, they take that person at the number one spot. I've never believed in that. Because ever before Taylor Swift was worth $1.6 billion in revenue, Rihanna stood at $1.5 billion. And Rihanna was the greatest of all time before Taylor Swift came into the picture. And then when Taylor Swift showed up, by 2024, her revenue stood at $1.6 billion, making her the wealthiest female in the world. And all I saw from Taylor Swift was, I saw an overly talented individual who was very appreciative of each and every one of you, but I saw a girl that was taking away from people who deserve these opportunities. That was taking away from people like Kylie Cantrell and Ruby Rose Turner, who is somebody that I love so much. How she introduced herself as her name is Ruby in that music video really set the tone for what Ruby was going to go on to represent. We may have never imagined her as a member of the cast of Descendants, but we can all agree that she was a beautiful cast member, and she was one of the most beautiful girls to ever don a character or a costume for Descendants. Because that's exactly why girls showed up at my door every year dressed up as Bridget. That's exactly why girls every year on Halloween dressed up at my door as Red, because they saw something special in how these characters were brought to life. And they believed in these characters more than anything else in their lifetime. And that deserves to be encouraged. That doesn't deserve to be shut out or shut down by some stupid critic in some stupid YouTube video who feels the way they do about Descendants of Zombies without ever giving it much of a chance. Which is why I felt more honored to be a part of that. And when the opportunity presented itself for me to become your voice of Descendants of Zombies, I took full advantage of it. And I had the time of my life, not only getting to talk about Descendants of Zombies, but getting to resonate with each and every one of you through all this wonderful content. I know I may record a lot of crazy videos about my passion for video games and the chances of zombie apocalypses happening more than ever before, because I don't think there's ever been a guy on YouTube that has prepared you for the inevitable, which of course is getting beamed up by aliens during an alien invasion, which could happen at any given moment, because of course last year we were following this interesting story about how there was apparently this alien mothership on the way to Earth to kill us all, and I believed in that more than anything else in the world because I wanted to bring this YouTube channel to life. Or the chances of a zombie apocalypse happening, because to be honest with each and every one of you, there are more guys out there in this world who are zombieing out than ever given credit for. By the way, they don't pay attention to anything we're talking about or ever take us seriously. We've all fallen victim to that, and I've wanted you guys to know you're never alone because of how somebody may feel about you. It doesn't take away from how special you are or how unique you are, because every Descendants of Zombies fan is different. And everybody has represented Descendants and Zombies so emphatically that has separated them from everybody else. Some of you love the dolls, some of you love the music, some of you love the Halloween costumes, some of you learn how to draw your favorite characters, some of you learn how to choreograph the dance numbers and attend your own boot camp sessions, which is really cool, which is something I don't think I'd ever be able to survive. What do you think? Do you think Jonathan Clarke could bust a move for a Descendants scene? Actually, I would love to be a part of the Descendants franchise. I would love to be a character in Descendants, or the voice of a character, because there's a greater appreciation to take away from somebody who sits behind a microphone, gets paid high amounts to record their voice for a character like Olaf from Frozen, or Phil from Hercules. I've always wanted to take myself up on the opportunity to bring to life a Disney character that you guys would fall in love with. I would have even loved to have been the dog in Descendants. Let's bring Duke back and give Jonathan Clarke the role of being Duke's voice. Because I can guarantee you that if I had the honor of being Duke's voice in Descendants and being all these iconic scenes with Kylie and Malia, you guys would have the time of your life, because I would really put my heart into bringing these characters to life, showing them so much unbelievable incentive that everybody would ultimately choose whatever movie Jonathan Clarke was in as their favorite. Because you see, I know what it's like to be each and every one of you, and I know what it's like to feel about how cool this Disney movie was. How do you think I felt when Hercules first premiered in the summer of 1997? In June of 1997, I had never felt more honored to see Tate Donovan's portrayal of Hercules. I thought it was so cool, and I thought it was so cool how James Wood brought the life of the original Hades to life, and how Hercules was so perfectly infuriating. You know, I would love to do that kind of thing, because it made you believe in a story more than ever before, because ever before Disney took a hand at creating Hercules and distributing a new version of the character, we just thought of Hercules as this over-strong, Hulk-like guy that could lift Olympus up over his head and throw it to the moon and back. I mean, that's not much of a story, but when Disney told us his version of the story, we all fell in love with it, because these characters actually had personalities, and Hercules became perfectly infuriating, and then Hades would go all crazy, destroy everything in the underworld, because he could never get the better of Hercules. And that's what I loved about it so much. And then the video game happened, and in 1997, I was addicted to playing the game. And no matter how fun the game was, the bosses were so difficult to beat. I was perfectly infuriated, wanted to throw my PlayStation out through the window because I couldn't finish the game. It was months after the game came out that I actually had the honor of beating it, but it was so fun. And then Disney stopped making video games on the most successful series, and I was like, what? And I couldn't believe it, because I bought Finding Nemo, I bought Hercules, I bought every Mickey Mouse game in existence. I actually just bought Epic Mickey Rebrushed, which is the remastered version of the original Epic Mickey released on Nintendo Wii. I don't know how old many of you are, or even if you can remember Nintendo Wii, but Nintendo Wii was the first Nintendo video game system console that came up with what was called a Wiimote. And you're saying to yourself, hey, Jonathan Clarke, how old do you think I am? Do you think I can actually remember a Wiimote? What is a Wiimote? Well, it was an updated version of Nintendo many years ago that I very quickly fell in love with, and I bought my first Nintendo Wii for over $300. And on that day, I thought I had the world, because all these cool Disney games were out, and I just wanted to be a part of whatever I could be a part of, while I represented you. Listen, if you've ever believed that Descendants and Zombies characters, like in all these recent rumors that you've been hearing about how Descendants and Zombies characters are going to find their way into Fortnite, if you've ever believed in that, then all I've ever wanted you guys to do is to continue to follow your passions, because you only have one life to live. And I know there are people out there who have forever believed that Descendants of Zombies characters are going to find their way into Fortnite. I know that there are people out there who have forever believed that Kylie Cantrell and Freya Skye are going to go on to become the next Olivia Rodriguez, which is a weird way of describing the future of Freya Skye. Actually, that's really weird. But whatever Freya Skye is going to go on to become, which is hopefully something a lot greater than Olivia Rodriguez, she is going to be something so fabulous that we are really going to marvel in it, and we are certainly going to find time in appreciating that. Actually, Freya Skye being the next Olivia Rodriguez sounds really weird. I'm hoping that she goes, honestly, I hope she goes on to become the next Taylor Swift because she deserves it. And I hope I'm the one standing next to her when I present her the award for being the greatest of all time. And then hopefully on that same night, we can honor Jonathan Clarke for being the greatest YouTuber of all time, having gone further than any YouTuber has gone before. And a YouTuber who spent a lot of money on this unnecessary video games, which pretty much makes him a loser. But the Descendants of Zombies niche has obviously seen something really special in me, and I can never seem to say thank you enough. Because I know for a fact, without any of you loving Descendants of Zombies with all of your heart, I would not be here. Which makes this the greatest honor of my life, and the most fun that I've ever had at just after 8:57 a.m. in the morning. If you can even believe that. Many of you are on your way to school. You're getting on the school bus with your book bag on your back, probably with your assignment half finished from how you watched Jonathan Clarke on YouTube last night, and you might want to get that done. And then you might want to come home and watch more Jonathan Clarke on YouTube, because I've got a lot of insights on Descendants of Zombies that, honestly, I would love to share with you guys. Because there is no guy on YouTube who has put his heart more into Descendants of Zombies than this guy, and spent all of his money on equipment to create this Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel for you, because the most of it that you're watching is AI, and AI really sucks. So because AI really sucks, we got to give something really special back to Descendants of Zombies and let AI know how we feel about these really crappy videos. And we got to do something special for every fan of Descendants of Zombies. And I have felt more than honored to be a part of that with each and every one of you. And I just have never wanted this story to end, because if you are somebody who has ever believed in a story or ever wanted to believe in something special, man, I support you to the moon and back. And I will forever and always be here sharing with you my insights on Descendants of Zombies. You guys will always have this YouTube channel, because somewhere out there in this really big universe, and I know I've been quoted saying this just as much as we've heard Cloud quote, everybody has a light and you will find your light in Kingdom Hearts, the video game. No matter how big this universe seems to be, there is always somebody out there who loves Descendants of Zombies with all of their heart. And we really need to take time in appreciating that. Because once we take time in appreciating that, we truly understand our audience for about who and what they love, and how special they felt being a part of it. Because I know out there somewhere tonight there is somebody who may have attended one of the more recent Freya Skye shows, at least one of the two of them. And they went there and they had the time of their life in Portland and Seattle. The next show, I believe, is Monday night. And I want you guys to go, and I want you to have fun. Or Tuesday night, tomorrow night, actually, because today's the 9th. So tomorrow night, Tuesday night, will be the next Freya Skye show. And I want you guys to go, and I want you to have the time of your life, and keep shutting out those critics. Never pay attention to what those critics have to say, because they're just trying to get reactions out of each and every one of you, and I really don't like that. I like sharing my story with you from my perspective about how I became a fan of Descendants of Zombies, and I have felt so honored to have been a part of that and to have experienced that with each and every one of you. I have no idea how many people are going to watch my Freya Skye videos all throughout the month of February, but I took a chance on Freya, because ever before I started dedicating months to Freya Skye's success story, I believed in Freya, just as much if not more as each and every one of you, and I wanted to support you. I may have been a really funny guy who understood more Descendants of Zombies fans than ever given credit for, but I had the time of my life. This is an honor. Sitting in this chair every day in front of this microphone, every single time you turn that camera on, which was actually really expensive. You wouldn't believe how much this camera was. But I cry every night when I think about the price of it. Oh my God, my credit card bill is a nightmare. But this has been so much fun for everybody, and I brought Descendants of Zombies to life while showing it a greater appreciation. And I'm just hoping that every fan of Descendants of Zombies eventually subscribes to it, because I'll tell you guys a little secret. A dream of mine is that every Descendants of Zombies fan will subscribe here. because you guys are incredibly supportive. You know who and what you love, and you can't show enough appreciation for the people that you know and that you love, that you grew up around, that you familiarize yourself with, and all you knew at whatever age you were when you fell in love with Descendants of Zombies was that you wanted to be a part of this more than anything else in your life and more than anything else in the world. And some way or somehow I came through, and I understood you guys for that, and I appreciated you for that. So with that having been said, thank you so much for having been the fans of Descendants of Zombies you have forever and always been. And I'm just hoping that I can come along on this incredible journey for however long we have left, which hopefully is forever, because I've never wanted these stories to end. And if you feel the same way, then you can hit Jonathan Clarke's like button. Actually, you can hit Jonathan Clarke's like button like 50,000 times, and if you give me 50,000 likes and 50,000 subscribers, then I will beat Mr. Beast. I will become the greatest YouTube content creator of all time. And you guys can come with me, and we can continue to love Descendants of Zombies for the rest of our lives, because Mr. Beast, Jonathan Clarke, is coming for you. And because I got to be the greatest content creator of all time. Certainly one of everybody's favorite Descendants of Zombies content creators of all time. Right? You guys do love this channel and do think that Jonathan Clarke's opinions about Descendants of Zombies is cool. So fun for you to watch. Because nobody has a personality quite like mine. Stop laughing, guys. I will return with a new podcast at some point between now and the end of this evening, and we will share more insights and more stories and predictions and everything in between that relates to Descendants of Zombies. I have had the time of my life as the host of this show, and I've had such an honor bestowed upon me to meet so many incredible fans of Descendants of Zombies. But given how many fans I have already met, I've still got my work cut out for me, because there are still thousands of Descendants of Zombies in this really big universe that I have yet to meet, that I look forward to sharing in that unforeseeable future with each and every one of you because of. So if you have not subscribed or hit the like button, what else you got to do? Ring my bell to stay up to date with notifications for every time I upload. I would love for you to be a part of this. I would love for every fan of Descendants of Zombies who ever loved this with a passion to subscribe here, because I really have had the time of my life. Thank you so much for loving Descendants of Zombies as much as you have, and thank you so much for watching this video. I, of course, am your host, Jonathan Clarke, and I am the most celebrated name in the history of Descendants of Zombies content, because you guys have chosen this YouTube channel as your favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel of all time, and I couldn't have felt more honored to have created that for you guys, because you guys have deserved nothing but the best for a very long time. Thank you so much for having watched this video.